What's going on, guys? This is Aussie Van Man. How y'all doing today? And where are we today? We're down in Tucson. Right behind me here, as you can see, Pima Air and Space Museum, and they've already made some changes. I don't really remember these being here last time I was here. And they are actually building a military vehicle museum is going up in this area too, which I've seen a sign that they're announcing here, so that's really exciting. Just beyond me, now just over there and over these hills here, we have the Tucson Air Force Base. You can see some planes through there, and we actually have the Boneyard where they retire all their aircraft over there. Unfortunately, we can't get into that. Maybe one day they'll open it to the public again. They used to do tours there, but no longer they do any of that stuff. So, but anyway, let's go inside, check out Pima Air and Space Museum. Really excited. Looks like they've been adding some more stuff to it, so that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and check it on out. So right from the beginning, here we have this really cool tower. It's an airway beacon tower. Look how tall it is. Up the top there's a little platform where people can stand up there. Now this is mine protected. It's heavily armored, so if it rolls over a mine, it should be okay. It's a clearance vehicle. They still use these to this day. This one's got U.S. Marine markings on the side. And over here we got an older style tank. I don't know if that's a T9. Oh wait, here it says T-72M. So even older than a T-90. What year was that used actually? 1971. Okay, so up here we can see a replica of the original Wright brothers aircraft. Alright, so here we have a breakdown of a jet engine. You can see they've cut all the outside off, sectioned it out, so we can see all the moving parts that would be inside. Very interesting. This particular breakdown was off of the J-47. So right here we can see the tail gunner's compartment from a Boeing B-52 Fortress. That's what it would have looked like. This is being obviously pulled out of one. Look at the massive firepower they had sitting on the back of these things. Check this one out. Apparently this is called a rotocycle. Some of you guys might know this from the game Rust or from the television series MASH. It's very cool to see one up in person though. They are actually much smaller than I thought they were. They look like they'd be pretty difficult to fly. Okay guys, here we have a little control tower demonstration here. Let's go ahead and have a look. Alright. Here we go. So that would be how it would be lighting up on the runways. The white strobes at the end. Okay, so this is kind of cool. We got a bunch of light up displays to show you different scenarios. We have a whole bunch of sensors and speakers on the radio, different stuff that you might be hearing.
Radar contact center district at the Tuscon Airport via direct vacation.
Okay guys, so here you can see the Blue Angels jet that they have here. This is a older one that they have, but the Blue Angels are the guys for the Navy, or the Navy side, that do all the stunt flying at all the air shows and stuff like that. Now this is a very big jet, definitely interesting. I'd say probably back from the earlier, maybe the 80s, 90s, I'm not sure. I have to look up the front. But the jets used to be a lot bigger in the day, and they're actually trying to make them a lot smaller now. Now this one might look familiar to you. If any of you have watched any of the Vietnam War videos, movies, you'll recognize these gunship helicopters. As you can see, this one here has the wall paint on the front, as they did in the Vietnam era. We have the rocket propel station on the side. We have the minigun on there that produces massive amounts of damage. Now up here you can see some of the air suits that they would have worn back in that era also. Now here's an example of some of the personal touches that they would have painted on the outside of their aircraft back in the time. For the different companies that they were in, they'd have different logos. And now right here you guys can see the, I forgot the name of it, it was like Black Hawk or something like that. But you'll remember this from the X-Men. This is the same jet that they fly in the X-Men. And for a period of time, this was the world's fastest jet. I was close, as the Black Bird, not the Black Hawk. We're looking on the underside of the aircraft itself now. And here's one of its engines here. Gigantic thing. Now we have a series of different bombs and rockets that they would drop on people in the war. Look at this giant bomb here. The MK-82, the Snake Eye fin assembly. Now this giant thing, look at this weird little thing. The cockpit's way up the top there. Engine's hanging out here, then you got this big scoop here. That makes it amphibious, so this plane can actually land into the water and take off from the water. This nose configuration is very weird though. Now we have another amphibious one here. This is a little bit more like you would expect from the old amphibious planes, but beyond it, look at this gigantic thing. This thing is absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever seen an amphibious plane this big before. This is just insane. Just this door hatch, my head barely reaches this door hatch down the bottom here. Like, this is how tall I stand on the plane itself. And look how tall. It just keeps going up, up, up. I can't even get anywhere near the engines that are hanging out here. Look at the wingspan. The float's sitting out here. It does have wheels on the bottom, but as you can see, when they're in the water, you can just fold these wheels up, and they literally fold up into the body of the aircraft. There's a big hole in the side where these things don't sort of go up like traditional landing gears. They fold up inside the body on the side here. Very strange. You can see these little viewing ports out the side here. There's another hatch up the back here. And look at this giant tail on this thing. You still see these things flying around today. Just the other day over the Superstition Mountains, I seen some of them flying around doing maneuvers. And here we have on this plane some more of that cool artwork they used to put on the outside of the planes. Starting back in like, I think World War II, they put a lot of this stuff on. As you can see on here, the squadron was 1945 to 2005. And that's what they were painting on their plane. Alright, here we have the Cobra helicopter, attack helicopter. They had all sorts of armaments all over this thing, from rockets to gunners, and I'm not too sure what this piece of equipment on the bottom was. Maybe cameras, or it could have been guns on the bottom. Not too sure. Okay, guys, so we're out of the first hangar. With probably like 4 or 5 more hangars to go, and we're in the outdoor area, which is absolutely gigantic as well. It's going to take us a long time to get through out here. There's so many planes out here, but let's continue on and see what else we can see. Okay guys, so there's 2 hangars that I wasn't able to get into last year for whatever reason. For some reason they were blocked off and we couldn't get to them. This year I get to see them. So I have not been in this hangar yet. This is my first time. Check this giant Navy, like flying fortress type thing out. It's crazy. Got the gunner at the rear, side gunner. We got a gunner at the top. Down on the front there's another gunner at that. I'm assuming there's another one on the other side there. Look at the size of it. The tail itself goes all the way to the ceiling of this hangar. And we got this Lockheed here you can actually walk into. So let's go walk into this Lockheed and see what it looks like on the inside here.
Oh, worm guns. And then the back of the little top in here, you see more guns. That would be another place that people would be. And you can kind of get a context for the size from this angle. It looks like a big blue whale. It's pretty cool.
Okay, let's go in.
But looks like the operator going into the structure. Let's see if we can go in there too.
This is pretty cool. The artwork they've put on this one. This is a Allison V1710. This is quite a cool plane. We have another aquaplane here, amphibious plane. Gun poking out the front there. It's quite a cool display they built for this one. So I'm absolutely loving my adventures here, guys. Just had a thought. Yeah, I remember back when I was a child, my dad used to take me to the aircraft museums. Particularly, I remember the one in Nara. He used to go to multiple times. He really enjoyed his military museums, and I think he would have absolutely loved this one if I had taken him here. We probably would have never got him out of there by the end of the day, because he loves, especially World War II, but he loves war history and the aircraft and vehicles used in such combat missions. He's just fascinated by all the history, so that's kind of what got me into history myself, is my dad's joy for it all. I never really got into it in school. It was through my father that I really learned a passion for history and exploration. So yeah, if Dad was here now, I think he'd be having a blast. Now this here, I believe this one's called a Griffin, but it's got a Rolls-Royce engine in it. It's quite a beefy nose end they have for this one. Now down below me here, you can see folded up, we have an Avenger. This thing is absolutely giant. It has folding wings, I'm guessing, so it could be transported on the flight deck of the aircraft carriers. Look at the size of it though. It's absolutely giant. Look at that engine. So right here we have a kamikaze plane from the Japanese, and if it looks all rusted, it's because it is. It's been sitting in the Smithsonian for a while, rusting away, and the actual engine has fallen away from the plane because it was made of a low-grade galvanized steel, which isn't very salvageable. It kind of falls apart. As you can see, this gaping hole here, as it's sagged over, the whole engine sort of fell away from it. So they have it propped up on a frame right now.
Did you even notice how big it was?
So here you can see a two-man piloted aircraft. It's actually a bomb though. So this was designed to fly right into its target, which would have been a warship. And the people on board obviously would not survive that attack. So right here you can see we are underneath a B-29A Super Fortress. Let's go up into the bombing area. Whoa. Now this is cool.
Pretty cool.
This is very cool. You can see the bombs up on the guide rails here that they would have dropped down here. Very cool. That's pretty cool, a B-29A. I've seen one of these up in flight at one of the Air Force shows before, so that's pretty cool, but I love being up close like that and getting to see all the details on it. Alright, so right here we can see a FM2 or F4F Wildcat. These are quite cool. These are like the ones that, I believe these are the ones that went down in the Bermuda Triangle a long time ago, if you remember that story. As you can see, they've fixed the front of this one up, painted it up a bit here. But on the back here, you can still see all the old original worn paint that's all sort of blemished from the sun. You can see all the rust from sitting out in the weather for years and years. All the wires and all that are eroded and they're all snapped like twigs. The rubbers on the piping, they're all gone. So yeah, this one, quite a lot of work if they want to get this one back into a, especially even those hinges on the wings here, they look like they've rusted shut. So here you can see we have an anti-aircraft gun. We have a searchlight over here. Okay, so we were just looking at the MiG and its competitor is right here, the Sabre F-86, the American one. Look at this. Of course, we got the artwork on the side. It's a beautiful looking plane. I love all the polished details on here. As you can see, this one has a cargo bay, so they would have been able to transport a lot of goods on the inside of this thing. And here we have a Willys Jeep sitting right here. I have a good friend of mine back home in Australia that has two of these Willys Jeeps. I think they're Vietnam era ones. So here you can see this massive jet here. It says Orbis on it. Haven't heard of that before, but it's saying Flying Eye Hospital. I have heard of the Flying Eye Doctor back in Australia. Don't know if that's got anything to do with it. Probably not. Down here you can see this old plane, the Flying Doctor Service. For rural areas, we had stuff like that back in Australia as well. Okay, so we have Bunny filming over here. Look at this giant plane here. This one is from the Forest Service. You can see on the decal on the side, it's from Hemet, I think it says, Hemet Valley, California. There goes the military carrier aircraft again off in the distance. Now look here, as you can see, we have two absolutely giant jets here, different jets. There's a GE propulsion test platform. We're gonna go have a look at that in a sec. We got the Hong Kong Cathay Pacific. As you can see on the edge here, it says Rolls-Royce engines there. Let's go have a better look at those Rolls-Royce engines. Okay, so now we're getting in front of one of these things. Unfortunately, I heard on the news quite recently that a worker in America was actually killed by getting in front of one of these, and he got sucked up into the massive turbines. I couldn't imagine anything more horrible than getting sucked up into that while it's moving at insane speeds with great heat. I don't think there's any chance she'd survive that. Alrighty, I'm not too sure what GE used this thing for, but it's a Boeing 747 big jet. Okay, check out this giant behemoth of an aircraft. I'm assuming this would be a carrier of some sort. This is the Boeing YC-14 transport. Apparently this is only one of two built. So only two of these ones exist apparently. Okay guys, look behind me here. We got another giant flying fortress. Let's have a look. I'm not too sure. I forgot. I've seen this one before. I don't remember what type it was, but let's go in and have a look. Okay, so we have the B-24 here. And again, it's a giant plane. Look at this thing. So we have some wreckage of a P-47 here. See it all crumpled up. They would have probably had to dug this out of the woods somewhere. This was flown by First Lieutenant Paul W. Mazzal of the 513th Fighter Squadron. He was shot down by flak in Germany while attacking an airfield. It wasn't until 2005 the Germans actually found this wreckage and his remains were brought back home from there. Alright guys, so we're in another building, and the walls behind me, you're going to see some of the artwork on the pieces of aircraft, and we're going to go around and have a quick look at them. Okay guys, here we go. The big B-17 bomber, Flying Fortress. It's a big old thing. This one's nice and clean, and the gallery in here, oh my lord. This is probably one of my favorite buildings in the whole Pima Airspace Museum. They have the B-17 bomber, and on top of that, just so much really cool stuff. We're gonna check out a lot of that right now. I don't want to spoil it for you, but let's go ahead and check it out. This is cool. This is like a painted diagram of how the inside of the B-17 bomber would have looked, what the layout would have been. Then we have one of the engines that would have been powering this big thing. Some of the equipment that would have been up inside there. You can see like a fuel bladder down there, a bunch of like bomb cases and stuff like that. Okay, so we have like what looks to be like a little barracks here or something. Let's go in and check it out. Okay, apparently this is called a Nissen hut. They were named after Peter Norman Nissen. Very cool. You can see like a little wood burning stove in there, some bunk bed or some little cots over here, foot lockers, some uniform hanging up on the side. Very basic construction, but definitely gets the job done.
Into the inner workings of the plane itself. And we're going to try to get a better view of this for you.
So here we have a guy in his air suit, and here you can see what was underneath his jacket and all that. See the electrical sockets plugged in there? This is basically like a heated blanket, but in a suit. So the heated suit would plug into 110 volt electrical sockets. So here we have a representation of an airfield that they had out in England. Apparently station 153. Look at the giant runways and the different hangars out there. Now if you can see up on the walls here, we got all the different artwork and the names of all the different bombers that were around back in the time. I really loved how they named their different bombers and had all the different artwork on the noses there. It's very cool. Now up on the upstairs section here, there's actually a TV scrolling through different nose art of the bombers back in the time. It's very cool. Oh dear. Okay. So apparently a lot of them had naked women on them, it would seem. That's all I seem to be getting on the TV there. I don't know if I can show that or not. Okay guys, so moving on from the artwork on the nose, we're going to look at the paintings on the backs of the bombers' jackets to see their little artwork that they put on their leather jackets. This one's a bit faded, but it's very nice artwork on there. And they've got their bomb count on the back of the jacket also that they'd add to. Mel Childress, ball turret gunner this was from. We got Donald Duck on this one. It's quite a nice piece of artwork there. This one says Liberty Bell on the back. You can see all the bomb counts on the back of this jacket.
Which is something that was officially forbidden after 1943 incident.
This one's very nice. Look at the artwork on this one. If you look down on the bombs, you can actually see what their targets were and where they were dropping the bombs. So down here, obviously the Nazi symbols are over Germany. We have, I think it's the Italian flag there. Different ones over here. In fact, if you look down here, there's a bit of a key. So 25 missions to Germany, France 5 missions, Poland 3 missions, Romania 1 mission. Oh, that's a Hungarian flag that I mistook for the Italian flag. 1 mission to there. It's also a pretty cool view you can get outside here through the window on the second floor here. All the planes. This is just a tiny one little side of the yard that they have outside. We barely even started searching yet. Okay, so cool fact right here. See this shredded, an old flag here? Well, this flag was hoisted up on D-Day. As you can see down here. LCT 766 unleashed its load of Army combat engineers. Amidst a hail of German machine gun mortar fire, Drain took down the 766 signal flag and hoisted up this flag on the boat's main flagpole. So, last time I was here, this plane right in front of me that we're about to show you, had just plain camo coloring. Now it looks like they're repainting it and they put like a little symbol on the side. Let's go ahead and have a look at it. Whoa. The Lone Star Lady. The Lone Star Lady. The Lone Star Lady. Where's the Lone Star Lady? Oh wait, there she is. It's the Lone Star Lady.
I know, I'm super excited. I saw Texas from like a distance.
They made a plane after you, huh?
I mean, she's a big girl like me. It works.
So the Lone Star Lady is in fact a B-52 bomber. Very cool. Big old plane. Guys, I just want to reassure you guys, I can't even show you all of the stuff that they have here. There's just way too much stuff. Like this field, we're barely scratching the surface of it. We're also running out of time. We got less than an hour till this place closes. We're gonna miss out on the space building because that closes in less than 10 minutes. We got here around lunchtime and there's just so much here. My feet are hurting. There's so much walking to do here. It's crazy. So you guys, if you get here, I recommend getting here at opening time at 10 o'clock, because if you're like me and you love to study everything, they actually sell 2-day passes because they know that you're probably not going to have enough time to see everything, or you're going to get sore and tired. So they do 2-day passes for this place. Alright, it says on the side, City of Fort Worth. We've got a bit of a Strategic Air Command. It's kind of faded, as you can see. US Air Force. And this is a B-36J. Probably another bomber, I'm assuming, by the size and length of it. Look at this one. We got a Lockheed. I don't really know much about this plane. It says it's an EC-121T. All I know is I like the job that they did on restoring this one. It looks very cool. By the big dome on the top, my guess is it's some sort of reconnaissance jet, or not jet, reconnaissance plane of some sort. What that giant bowl on the bottom is, I have no idea. Sure, they had a lot of fancy electronics in there. Now this one's cool. I don't even know if they had this last time I was here, but it's very cool. It's got the dual props, the dual propellers on the front of the engines. That's really cool. It's AEW Avro Mark II. I don't really know anything about that plane either, but it looks quite cool. They've done a nice job of restoring it. The dual propellers on the front, I don't really know, what that's supposed to do, but it's cool. But just look at the sheer amount of planes out here, jets and planes. It's just crazy. This is one corner. Massive planes. So much space, and beyond there you can see all these military vehicles banked up there. I don't know if that's like what that's for next door, but there's a ton of military trucks and stuff next door. This one's interesting too, the Douglas Sky Raider. Don't really know much about that one myself. This says experimental on the side, and it's a very strange looking aircraft. Very strange indeed. Double propeller on the front again. It's called a ferry apparently. Very strange looking aircraft. Now that's got to be some sort of reconnaissance spy jet. I mean, spy plane. Look at the massive electronics dome on top of it. See, over there we have a NASA plane. Over there we're gonna have to see that one. I think looks like a giant whale or something. Over here we got this insanely huge Air Force plane. More Air Force down the back there. It's absolutely crazy. You can see in this plane, this thing's got looks like a gigantic spotlight or something going on here. I have no idea. Now this is the giant whale one that I was talking about. I can't remember. I think it's one of those transportation ones where the front nose like peels out, like folds away, and they just drive everything up into the middle. believe that's what it was for. But look at the size of it. Could you imagine seeing one of these things just flying around? So it's called the Super Guppy Cargo Transport. We use these up until 1995. Look at the size of it. It's insane. Here's what I've been looking for. I knew they had a couple of presidential jets over here, and I think they got at least two. Here's one of them. Let's go over see who this served. Okay, so this particular one was a VIP jet, so it didn't necessarily carry the president, but it did carry VIPs for the American. But this one did carry the VIPs for the American government, so possibly like governors, maybe senators, I'm not sure. Very cool nonetheless. So here we have one of the old Air Force ones. This would have flown around one of the presidents, or maybe over different terms, more than one possibly. Let's go ahead and check out what era this one is. Okay guys, so this presidential plane here actually carried President Kennedy and President Johnson, so that's kind of cool history right there. Tell you what, man, I'd love to go up and see what the inside of that jet looks like. That's plane. I'd love to go up inside that plane and see what it looks like up there. Now here we can see a much smaller jet. It's again got the United States of America government seal on the side, so I'm interested to see what this particular jet was used for. Okay, so this is a Lockheed, and it's on loan from the Museum of the United States Air Force. It was used all the way up to 1986. This was again a VIP transport for the United States government. Here we have a bit of row of helicopters here, going all the way up the end. Look at that giant Army one up there. We got a cargo one right here. We got the Super Cobra attack helicopter here. This one's cool. This one is a Sikorsky giant attack helicopter. Apparently it's a rescue helicopter. Of course, we have the old Russian helicopter that you see in the classic video games or movies. You've got these interesting art pieces out here on these planes. This giant US Army helicopter here. The thing is crazy. Okay guys, so that's about it. We've got like less than 15 minutes till this place closes. Again, we went over to see everything. It's just such a big place here. We spent probably 5 hours almost here. It's insane. So guys, make sure you guys come down to Pima Air and Space Museum. There's like, we missed one building, and a good chunk of the field we had to rush through. So there's plenty to see down here, guys. All right, guys, that's enough from me. We're exhausted. We're gonna go get something to eat now. You can hear the fighter jets flying over the top of me right now. Yep, very loud. Okay. So it's very loud with the fighter jet flying behind me right now. The Tucson Air Base is right behind me as well. So on that note, you know what to do, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Until next time, guys, this is Aussie Van Man. We'll see you later. What's going on here?